In this video, we are still in our TABE Tutor Practice Workbook, Book 1. And please remember, if your teacher has asked you not to write in your workbook, please follow that advice. So I'm going to turn over to Practice 7, and I'll tell you the page number as soon as I get there. This is Practice 7 on page 14. And we're looking at division in this lesson. Some of you are watching this video for HiSET practice, and so for you, I will be doing these on the calculator. But for those of you who are watching this for TABE, I will work them out longhand, because on TABE, sometimes you cannot use the calculator. So I want to do these both ways. This video may be just a little bit long, but with division, it's important to know how to understand your answer. Okay, so let's take a look at problem 1. This says Michael runs 1,600 meters in 5 minutes. What is his average speed in meters per minute? So I want to first call your attention to the words average and per in your question. Those are division words. If they're in the question, you can pretty well bet that this is a division problem. So we need to take 1,600 and divide that by 5. Now to do this, I'm going to use graph paper. So I have just inserted some graph paper into my document. If you don't have graph paper, that's okay. I just like doing this to show you how to line up long division. So let me enlarge this just a bit, and we're going to put this problem in here for division. So the first thing you want to do is draw the division house, I call it. And inside the division house, you're going to put the 1,600, because that is the total amount, the total number of meters that Michael was able to run. This is called the dividend. So the dividend goes into the house. And I'll tell you what, let me put that right over here, because I'm going to need that space to do my division. Now, if you do not know your times tables, division is a little bit trickier, because it is rooted, division is the opposite of multiplication. So your times tables are very important here. The divisor is the 5. And that's going to go outside of our house. If you are planning to go on to college, you may need to know these terms. So I want to give them to you. I won't write them every time. I just want to tell you the first time what they're called. So let's begin our division. And I'm going to change colors here just so you can follow what I'm doing a little better. So the first thing I need to ask myself is how many times 5 will divide into 1? And it won't. So I teach students to go ahead and put that 0 up there, because that helps you to line things up. So then I'll say 5 into 16, and that goes 3 times. Because 3 times 5 is 15. And so I'll put that down here. And we are breaking down, so we're going to subtract right there and get a remainder of 1. And then I will drop the 0 and start that process again. So 5 divided into 10 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. And I will subtract to get a 0. But we are not finished, because we still have that third 0 sitting up there that has to come down. And I encourage you to draw those arrows, and that will keep everything lined up the way it needs to be. 5 into 0 will not go, but I still need to put that up there. We have to use that 0. And of course, there would be nothing left over. So we say that this answer divides evenly. So the quotient here is 320. Now, if you're doing this on your calculator, all you have to do, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to take the time to just draw my calculator buttons so that every time you see these buttons, you know that I'm giving you a calculator skill. As we move further through this material, you will see more and more of these. So to put this problem into your calculator, you need 5 keystrokes, and those are all clear. You want to always clear your calculator before you start a new problem. So you have the dividend, 1600, divide by 5, and press equals. And you should get the answer 320. So if you have the calculator, you can certainly do that. You just put your dividend in first. So either way, our answer to number 1 is going to be C, 320 meters per minute. A meter is about 3 inches longer than a yard, just to give you an idea of what a meter looks like. Okay, number 2. Jenny separates her 1,325 printed photographs into groups of 25. How many groups of photographs does she have? So I need to divide again, and I'm going to go, this was number 1. So let's put number 2 right here. And again, I want to draw the frame and put the dividend in there. That's the number of photographs she has. So 1,325, and each group has 25 photographs. And I actually don't need quite such a long frame this time. So the first thing we need to do always is take 25 into 1, and that's not going to go. 25 into 13 will not go. So we're taking 25, dividing 25 into 132. So I need to think about, we know that 25 times 1 is 25. Think of quarters in a dollar. Most people don't know their times tables through 25, but think of money. 3 quarters is worth 75 cents. 4 quarters is worth $1 or 100 cents. 5 quarters would be $1.25. And 6 quarters would be $1.50. So 150 is too big. The 132 that I'm looking for is somewhere in this area. So I'm going to say that it will go 5 times. 6 times is too big. So 5 times 25 is not 126. I hope you caught that. I do those things sometimes. I'm sorry. So 5 times 25 is 125. And we need to subtract here, just like always. So we're going to have to say 12 minus 5 is 7. and then of course these would be zeros. And we bring down this 5 down below the line there. And then we're looking at 25 divided into 75, which we already have that one, is going to be 3 times. 3 times 25 is 75. And of course there will be nothing left over. Okay. So the answer, the quotient, is 53. 53 groups of photographs. And let me go ahead and pull this picture back in. I won't take the time to draw that. And I'll show you how to put this into your calculator if you have the calculator. You can certainly use it if you have it. So all clear. Let me do this so I won't have to keep erasing. Basically, you just substitute in the numbers for this problem, which would be the dividend, 1325, and the divisor is 25, and that will give you your answer of 53. So let me slide back over to my question and fill in the answer, and then we'll look at number 3. 53 groups of photos. All right, number 3. Pedro has 204 oranges and he shares them equally. Shares equally with 12 people. How many oranges does each person receive? Those are all division words. So they want us to divide 204 by 12. So let me get back to, here's a space. So number 3, set up your problem, put your dividend inside the house, 204, total number of oranges, 12 people. That's your divisor. So to do this one, we are looking at the multiples of 12. 12 times 1, of course, is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Let me just go a couple more. 12 threes are 36, and 12 fours are 48. This could go on all day, but let's see what we've got here. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this 12 into this 2, and it won't fit. It's too big. So we're going to say a 0. Then 12 into 20. That is going to sit somewhere in here. 2 is too much, so we're going to go with 1. 1 times 12 is 12. And we will subtract here. So you have to borrow. 10 minus 2 is 8. 1 minus 1 is 0. And then I need to bring down my 4. So we have to fit 12 into 84. Now, if you already know what it is, go ahead and finish the problem. If you don't, you'll have to list your multiples to figure out what it is. And here we go. It is 12 times 7. That equals 84. So we want a 7 in this slot. And 7 times 12 is 84. So there is nothing left over. That problem is complete. To put this one into your calculator, if you're lucky enough to have your calculator, you want to put in the dividend first. 204 divide by 12. And the answer to this one is D. I'm thinking I may have to make 2 videos on this one. We'll see how long this is going to run, but this is moving a little bit slowly. Number 4, Aaliyah divides $17,120 equally among 32 employees for annual bonus checks. How much money does each employee receive? So look for those division words. Divide is one, equally, and each. They want us to divide. And this one is definitely long division. So number 4 is going to be a very large dividend. 17,120. And we have 32 employees, so we're going to divide it by 32. And I'll tell you what, I need to move this over just a hair so that I have room to list my multiples. So 32 times 1 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. 32 times 3 is 96. And 32 times 4 is 128. And since these are such large numbers, that's as far as I'm going to go right now. If we have to, we'll go further. Okay, so 32 into 1 cannot fit. 32 into 17 cannot fit. 32 into 171. So I stopped with 128. Let's go a little further. 32 times 5 is going to be 160. So that's getting close. 32 times 6 is going to be 192. So that is too big. The one that we're looking for is between those. So we're going to go with the 5. 5 times 32 is 160. And then let's subtract here. 1, 1, and 0. And bring down one number, just the 2. So 112 is what I'm looking for. That's going to be between 3 and 4, so we go with 3. It's like The Price is Right. You get as close as you can without going over. So 3 times 32, we've already got that written over there, is 96. So we're going to subtract. You have to borrow. So you get 12 minus 6 and 10 minus 9. And then these, of course, are zeros. And then let's bring down one more 0 to 160. And that, of course, is exactly the number 5. So 5 times 32 is 160 with nothing left over. So my quotient is 535. And to do this on the calculator, we're going to say the dividend, which is enormous this time. Squeeze him in there. Divided 32 ways is 535. So let me go back over to my problem, and we will put that down. So each employee in the bonus gets $535. It's a pretty nice bonus. Okay, number 5. John buys 132 books and separates there's a division word, them into 12 equal groups. He reads one group of books each month, which 2 sentences are true. So let's go ahead and do the division, and then we'll see what's true there. So 132 divided by 12. So over here, let's do the problem. Number 5. If you have children who are learning long division, I strongly recommend getting them some graph paper. It helps to teach them to line things up. So 132 divided by 12. Now, we already listed our 12s somewhere right up here. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Rather than list all that again, I'm just going to look back on my scrap paper at where I've already done this. This is a good test-taking strategy. If you've already done it once, don't do it again. Just look back on your scrap paper where you've done it, and you'll have what you need. So we want to say 12 into 1, and that can't happen, but 12 into 13 can. The 13 would be right in there, and we go with the lower one. So that's 1 time. I really didn't even need the list of multiples. So that's 1 left over, and then I bring down this 2. 12 into itself is 1, and 1 times 12 is 12, and 0 left over. Let's put, oops, I've lost my calculator frame. That's the disadvantage of copying and pasting on here. So let me redo that one. I probably will stop doing the calculator ones. I think probably you get the gist of this now. Your dividend goes first. So in this case, that is the 132. And your divisor second, and you get an 11 for the answer. So let's go back over to the problem and see what we're dealing with here. We know that the answer, and let me just rewrite the problem for you. We did 132 divided by 12, and we got 11. So we know that this one is true. John reads 11 books per month. He is an avid reader. That's a lot. I read about 2 per month. And we know that we did this to find out that answer. So your answers on this one are D and E. When it says by 12, this is the divisor. And that's what we want, the 12 as the divisor. So for number 5, you need to mark both D and E. Number 6. There are 3,770 people at a conference, and they are separated into 26 equal groups. How many people are in each group? So this one is division. And I'm going to slip right over here to my last little frame on this page. No, I have others down there. Okay, so 6. We have a lot of people. 3,770 people, and we are dividing them into groups, and we need 26 groups. So we want to know how many people are in each of the groups. So I'm going to list my multiples here. 1 times 26, that's always the easiest one. 2 times 26 is 52. 3 times 26 is 878. 4 times 26 is 104. And 5 times 26 is 130. Okay, so we're ready to do the long division. 26 into 3 cannot happen. 26 into 37 definitely can happen. It would be right in there, so we're going to go with the 1. So 7 minus 1 and 3 minus 2. Bring down your 7. 126 into 117. It's going to be right in there, so let's go the one lower, that's the 4. And 4 times 26 is 104. There's a 3, a 1, and a 0. And then one more time, I need to drop that 0 down here. And 26 into 130 is going to go 5 times with nothing left over. And that gives us a 0, a 0, a 0, all zeros down there. So we are finished. The answer is 145. So let's go back over to number 6 and pick option A. 145 people in each conference group. And always ask yourself, is that reasonable? And yes, it is. If you've ever been to a conference, that's about right for the group size. Okay, number 7. A jet flies 4,635 miles in 9 hours. How many miles per hour does the jet fly? So we are going to go with division again. No surprise there, since that's the title of our lesson. And you want to set this one up so that you have room under the house for 4 digits. Let me turn my page here so I'm looking at the right 4 digits. 4635. And we're dividing that into by 9 hours. So this time we want to use the factors of 9. This is easier when it's a 1-digit divisor. You can list these factors a little bit more easily. And I'm going to go to 5. If we need to go over that, we can. You can always add to your factors. So let's see what we have here. 9 into 4 cannot go. So 9 into 46. Let me go one more. That's 54. So 46 is going to sit right in there. So I'll go with the 5. 5 nines are 45 with 1 left over. Bring down your 3. 9 into 13, that's going to go 1 time. And 13 subtract 9, or you can borrow if you need to, but I would just subtract it, is going to be 4. And bring down your 5 that's sitting up there. Have to use all the numbers. And this one should give us an even one. 9 into 45 is 5. So 5 9s are 45. Nothing left over down here. So the jet is traveling 515 miles an hour. That is very fast. And that is also B, 515 miles per hour. Number 8. Dawn plans her flooring company to install 23,250 square feet of floor in a mall over 15 days. The workers will install the same amount of flooring each day. Which two sentences are true? So we need to divide those two numbers. And this is another one. The divisor's big. The dividend is also big. So I'm going to need a little bit of room here. And let's go with a house that's big enough for 23250. And 15 is the divisor. So let's list some factors of 15. 15 times 1, that one's an easy one to do. 15 times 2 is 30. 15 times 3 is 45. 15 times 4 is 60. And 15 times 5 is 75. 15 times 6 is 90, and I think I'm going to stop right there. I can always add to that if need be. So here we go. 15 into 2 cannot happen. 15 into 23 is going to be right in here, so that's one time. 23 minus 15, so you can borrow if you need to. 13 minus 5 is 8. If you don't need to borrow there, that's okay. Just do it in your head. Bring down the 2. 15 into 82 is going to sit right in there, so let's use 5. And that is 75. Again, if you need to borrow, go ahead and do that. If you don't, just make it a 7. Bring down the 5. Be careful here. 15 into 75, we know that one. That's exactly a 5. 75. Subtract 0. But we're not finished, because we still have another number under that house that we have to use. It has to come down if it's under the house. So bring it down there. 15 into 0, that can't happen. 0 times 15 is 0. So now we're at zeros, and there's nothing left to bring down. So they need to install 1,550 square feet per day. So let's go back over to our problem. We need to pick 2 of these, and I see this one. That's exactly the answer that we just found. But there's another one we need to look for. So we have to ask ourselves, which one of them was the divisor? Was it the 15 that was our divisor, or was it this big number that was the divisor? And the divisor is the one on the outside. It was this one. So be sure that on problem number 8, you choose 2 answers, B and E. Number 9. Ollie has 480 hours of classwork to complete in 16 weeks. He spends the same number of hours on classwork every week. How many hours does Ollie spend on classwork per week? And I think I'm just going to divide this one right here. It shouldn't be that bad. So I make my divisor house, so 480 divided by 16. 16 into 4 is 0. Oops, what did I not do? The most important part. This is the part I don't like. But there's 48, so I think I'm going to stop right there. Because 16 into 48 is 3, with none left. But be oh so careful, because you have to bring down the 0. It's not 3 hours, it's 30 hours. So if you're doing this by hand, make sure that you are using all of the numbers under the house. All of the numbers in the dividend must be used up. So this is 30 hours per week. The answer to number 9 is A. Okay, have to scroll over to get number 10. Kendra's salary is $44,798. Her salary is divided equally into 26 bi-weekly paychecks, and that means every 2 weeks. How much does Kendra earn before taxes with each paycheck? So let's go over to the next available space, which is right here. And this is problem number 10. Make your frame big enough to hold 5 digits. This is where her salary is going to go. 44,798 divided by 26. Now somewhere we have used 26s. If you keep up with your scrap paper and you keep it neat, you can use this little trick if you're doing a lot of these problems, or you can just list them again. But since I'm trying to keep this video shorter, I'm going to just copy and paste those in there. And I also want you to know that as a test-taking strategy, that if you've got it on your scrap paper, you've already written it once, don't waste your time writing it again. Just look back at that particular section. Okay, 26 into 4 cannot happen. 26 into 44 absolutely can happen. It goes one time. So 26, we do need to borrow on this one and be very careful. 14 minus 6 is 8, but don't forget that 3 minus 2, that's not a 0 this time. It's a 1. As long as this number is smaller than this number, we're okay. So we bring down the 7. Let me get a different color so we can tell those apart. And we're looking at 26 into 187. So I didn't go far enough over here. Let's try 6 times 26. That's 156. So let's try 7 times 26. That is 182, I believe. 4. Yes. And that's not quite enough. Let's go 7 times 26 just to be sure. Sorry, 8 times 26. 7 is the one we want, but let's see what 8 is going to give us. 8 and then 16, 208. Okay, so the one we want here is right there. It's going to be the 7. So it goes 7 times, and that's 182. Do your subtraction to get a 5, and those are zeros. Bring your 9 down, and we're looking at 26 into 59. We've got that one. So that would be 2 for 52. Subtract, get 7. We have one more to bring down, and we'll have this one done. So bring that 8 all the way down, and then into 78 is 3 times with no remainder. This is long, long division. So this is telling me that she makes $1,723 every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. 1,723. So let's go back to our problem. I have to remember it till I get there. There we go. And we're going to go with option C. Okay. Number 11. Stephen separates 875 pounds of grain equally into 35 identical containers. How many pounds of grain go into each container? So 875 divided by 35. 875 divided by 35. So let's list our multiples of 35. 35 times 2 is 70. 35 times 3 is 105. 35 times 4 is 140. And 35 times 5 is 175. And let's see if that'll do it. If not, we'll add to it. So 35 into 8 cannot happen. 35 into 87 is going to fit right in here, so let's use the 2. 2 times 35 is 70. Subtract carefully, and then drop the next number, the 5. 35 into 175 is 5 times with no remainder. So it looks like our answer is 25 of those, or 25 pounds per container. And I'm going the wrong way, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm getting myself confused. 25 pounds per container. And we only choose one on this one. Alrighty, number 12. Charissa cuts a 192-inch board into 8 equal pieces. How long is each piece? I'm going to do this one right here. 192 divided by 8. So come over here and list your 8s. These are just your times tables for 8. If you don't need to list these, that's fine. If you know what they are and can do them in your head. Let's go one more. 5 8s are 40. So, 8 cannot go into 1, but it can go into 19 2 times. 2 8s are 16. Subtract, bring down the 2, and 8 into 32 is 4, with no remainder. So each piece is 24 inches long. That one, as compared to the others, is not as bad. The 1-digit divisors are the easiest ones, but they're not easy. Number 13. A ballroom has 2,662 square feet of floor space. Brandy creates 22 equal sections for a team building activity. What is the area of each section? So let me see if I can do this one right here. I don't think it's going to be too terribly bad. Got a 4-digit dividend and a 2-digit divisor. And let's list some factors of 22. 22 times 1, 22 times 2, 22 times 3, 22 times 4, and let's go one more. I like to go to 5, but you don't have to. It's up to you. 22 times 5. So we're going to say 22 into 2 cannot go. 22 into 26 goes 1 time. 1 times 22 is 22. Bring down the 6. This is going to be right in here, so that's 2 times. 44 down there. Bring down the 2. 22 into itself is 1 time. So I believe that our answer is 121 square feet for each section. Okay. Number 24. Jason buys a sofa for $1,152 and divides the cost into 24 equal payments. What is the amount of each payment? So we have 1,152 divided by 24. And let's list our factors. I will tell you that these should never go higher than 9. So I usually go through 5, but if you go through 9s, you know you have them all. Oops, already did that one. How about a 3? And then 24 by 5. All right. 24 into 1 cannot go. 24 into 11 cannot go. 24 into 115 would be right in here. So that's going to be 4 times. We don't want to go over. So 96, be careful with your subtraction here. If you need to borrow, go ahead and do that. 15 minus 6 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. And then bring down your 2. 24 into 192. So I have not gone far enough, unfortunately. Sometimes just doesn't work out the way you think it will. 24 by 7. We're getting closer, and remember 9 is the farthest that I can go. If you have to go over 9, something's wrong. There it is. 8 times for exactly 192. So each payment on number 14 is $48. Number 15. Sherry types 280 words in 5 minutes. How many words per minute does she type? So I have 280. I'm going to not list my multiples on this one and show you how to do these. If you have 5s as your divisor, you can use your fingers to figure this one out. Okay, 5 into 2 cannot go, but we need 5 into 28. So if you need your fingers, count on your fingers. Each finger is worth 5. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's 5 times, and that's as close as I can get. Subtract. Bring down. And then 5 into 30. If each finger's worth 5, how many fingers to get you to 30? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's 6 times. That, I show you that just to show you that that saves time on a test. Let each finger be worth the divisor, and you can use your fingers to count up without having to list multiples. If it's easier to list the multiples, go for that. That's perfectly fine. But that's just a little bit of a time saver. Okay, number 16. A lecture hall of 324 students is separated, so there's the division, into groups of 6 students each. How many groups are there? So let's try that little trick again. Anytime I have a 1-digit divisor, that is going to be an option to use my fingers. So this time each finger is worth 6. 6 into 3 can't happen. So let's see about 6 into 32. So I have 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. That's as close as I can get. So 5 6s, 5 fingers give me 30. Drop that 4. And let's figure out how many fingers it takes to get to 24. So you're starting over. And I literally teach students when they're starting over to make a fist and then start again. So you have 6, 12, 18, 24. That's 4 times. So there are 54 groups in this lecture hall. 54 groups of 8 students or 6 students. I'll get it out sometime. 54 groups of 6 students. Number 17. A drone flies 1,495 meters in 65 seconds. How many meters per second does the drone fly? I think they left out the word fly. So I'm going to try to do this one right here. I've got 1,495 divided by 65. So in this case, each finger is worth 65. But I am not going to try to do that in my head. This divisor is just a little too big for me to do that. And if you need to stop the video and figure this out, that's fine. So let's see if 4 will do it, since those are so big. It may not. We'll see. 65 into 1 cannot go. 65 into 14 cannot go. 65 into 149. It's going to be right there, so that's 2 times. And we'll use that 130. Be careful with your subtraction. And let's drop the 5. 65 into 195 is 3, with none left over. So it looks like 23 meters per second. So for that problem, and I can't remember what number it is, 1 second, number 17, the answer should be C. Let me be sure I marked number 16 as B. Yes. Number 18. We're almost there, folks. Hang with me here. A flag football league has 176 players who are separated into 16 equal teams. How many players are on each team? So I have 176 divided by 16. And let's list a few of the factors. Each finger is worth 16 this time. I'm just going to stop there. Let's see if this will do it. It may not, but let's see. Okay, 16 cannot go into 1, but it can go into 17 one time. With 1 left over, bring down the 6, and then into itself is 1 time with none left over. So I didn't even need all those factors. I could have just done this one in my head, I think. But there are 11 players. So for number 18, we should mark B. 11 players on each team. Number 19. Grayson has 2,145 cards in his baseball card collection. He separates them into stacks of 33 cards. So the clue is separated stacks. Those are groups. How many stacks of cards does Grayson have? So we take the 2,145 and divide that by 33. So 33 times 1, 33 times 2, 33 times 3, and let's just see if we can get by right here. I don't think we can, but we'll try it. 33 cannot go into 2 or into 21. We need 214. We only got to 99. So we're going to have to expand our list just a little bit. I thought it was too good to be true, but you never know. There's 132. I'm going to have to go way further than that. $33 times 6. Maybe this one will help me. That's getting us closer. But let me take it one more time to see if it's close enough. This may put us over the line. Let's see, 21 carry 2, 21, 2, 3. Sorry, I had to think that one through. So it is going to be 6 for 198. Be careful with your borrowing here. Just make sure that you're borrowing correctly. 14 minus 8 is 6. And then 10 minus 9 is 1. And there's a 0 there. But we have to bring down the 5. So 33 into 165 is exactly 5 times. And that is 0 left over. So he will have a lot of stacks. 65 stacks of cards. So the answer to number 19 is C. A factory produces 56,741 plastic pieces in 23 days. How many plastic pieces are produced at the factory per day? So we want to break that down into a single day's production because they make this very large amount in 23 days. Let's figure out for just one day. Whoa, sorry, I don't know what happened there. I hit something that I shouldn't have hit. So 23 times 1. 23 times 2. 23 times 3. 23 times 4. And I'm going to leave it there. Let's see if that's enough. 23 cannot go into 5, but it goes into 56 one time. No, sorry, 2 times to get 46. So you have 10 left and then 107. So I do need to go another time here. That's 115, so that's too much. So we're going to go with 4, which is 92, and subtract, and bring down the 4. Let's try 23 times 6. We need to be sure. Yep. Could even be 7. No, 7's too big. So 6 is the one, and that's 138. And let's subtract carefully. Get 16, but don't forget, you've got that 1 to bring down. And that's going to be 7 times exactly. That is 161 with no remainder. So 2,467 pieces per day. So your answer to number 20 should be D, as in dog. And finally, find the quotient. There's your keyword. Here's a key also. So we are going to say 653 divided by 7. I'm going to use my fingers this time. Each finger is worth 7. 7 into 6 cannot go. 7 into 65. So I have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63. 9 is the highest I can go, so I can't use that 10th finger. And that's 2 left over. This is interesting. 7 into 23. That's 7, 14, 21. 3 times with 2 left over. So on the very last question, they throw us a remainder, but that can certainly happen. 93 remainder 2. So the answer to 21 is C. And I will see you in the next video for the chapter review.